Hello. So in this video, we're having a look at how we can find what caused a regression, which means something that used to work and doesn't work anymore in LibreOffice. That's very helpful to identify exactly when something started and then obviously get it fixed. So that's what we call a regression. You can see in this bug report on Bugzilla, it has been tagged as a regression. It's a problem I'm looking at today, which is an issue with the high contrast mode on Windows. Usually in a bug report, you've got a description at the beginning and steps to reproduce the issue. And here we've got the tags regression as well as bibisect request, which means we have identified it's a regression. We need someone to have a look at exactly when it started by running a bisection or a binary bisection. So on this computer installation of Windows, I've got a version of LibreOffice here, 7.6. The person who reported the bug said that the issue is not reproduced, is not present in 7.6. If we have a look at here, this version, in the options, we've got accessibility options here, and we've got high contrast turned on. So with this setting, we do have a visual for highlighted cells, and we have the cursor also visible on the active cell. Now, if I move to version 24.2, which I've got here, installed in parallel, let's go in Calc. You can see that I'm also in high contrast. I've got that setting turned on in the options. But here, there's nothing on canvas. You can't see the cell selection and you can't see the active cell cursor, which is a big problem. So we do have a regression here between version 7.6 and version 24.2. And to get into the bibisect process, we'll have a look at this website here that you can access easily by going bibisect.libreoffice.org. This is a shortcut to this quality assurance page. QA/bibisect. There's a general explanation of what the process is, and basically it is taking a look at all the different patches, all the different commits in a range, and that might be several thousands of them, and slicing it in two halves and looking at, is the issue present in this middle point? If it is present, then we're having a look at the first half and slicing that again. If it's not present in that middle point, we're looking at the second half and slicing that again in half. So with that process, we're dividing the number of commits, of changes in the code by 2 every time, and that's why it's called binary. So it's a method to very quickly get to the source cause of an issue. You don't have to test every single version, every single build at every single commit. You can use that binary process. So it's called binary bisection. Yeah, and we'll have a look at how we can do that. Now there's explanations or instructions for depending on your operating system. Today we're having a look at Windows. I'm running Windows 11 here. You can see more specific instructions. Have a look at that. The most important bit that I'll go to here is that you have to have Git installed on your computer to do that. You can go to gitforwindows.org to install that, download the installer, follow the instructions. Also take note of what it says here to make sure you choose the right options. Makes it easier for you later on. And once you've got that installed, you should have something called Git Bash. Git Bash is the terminal that you can use to go through that process. Now, you also have to have a bibisect repository on your computer. And Scrolling down on that page, you'll get to a table where you've got all the different versions of the bibisect repositories. And because we know that the issue that we're looking at started in version 24.2, this is the repository we're looking at today. There's a link here that says repo. You can click on that and it gives you instruction to clone that repository. There's one command here that you can use. If you aren't sure about your connection, you can use the wget method. There's a few more steps here. But I've done that already. I've run that in Git Bash. You can see that it's the same command here. And it's taken a while to download that. Usually it's a few gigabytes. So make sure you've got enough space on your computer. And once it's done, you'll be able to go, for example, to your file browser, find where the repository was cloned. It's called Win6424.2 here. I can go in there, right click, show more options, and open Git Bash here. Now you're in the repository, and the first thing you can do is double check that you've got the right repository, the right range of changes. So by default, it's going to be at the master point, or the the newest version, the newest build, the most recent build. So to run LibreOffice from here, you can run instdir /program/soffice. And we can go straight to calc by using the flag calc or the option calc -- calc after a space. And in there, I've already changed the settings. So you'll see that it's in high contrast mode, and I can check that, yes, the issue is there, right? There's the bug. I can't see my selection. Now, with git checkout oldest, instead of git checkout master to make sure that you're the most recent, you can use git checkout oldest to make sure you're at the oldest version in the repository. It updates the files according to that history, goes back to that earliest snapshot at the beginning of the repository. You can see it tells you oldest here, and run the same command. You can use the up arrow to do that, to go back through your history of commands. Instdir program soffice calc. Let's run that, and let's check if the issue is there or not at the earliest version. So at the beginning of this repository, the bug is not there. So this is exactly what we're after. We've got the right range of commits, and we're going to start the actual bibisect or bibisect process by using the command git bisect start. And we have to tell it where the bad version is, which is master, and where the good version is, oldest. So we're defining the range that we want to have a look at. Git bisect start to start the process, which version is bad, which version is good. Once you press enter, it'll automatically go through slicing that range into step by step, and you tell it if it is good or if it is bad. So for example, here we are at the midpoint. We use that command to start LibreOffice. Yeah, the issue is here, the bug is here, so we tell Git that it's bad with git bisect bad. Press enter to execute, and it goes to the next step. It tells you, see at the beginning, that we had more than 2,500 commits to check, which is roughly 11 steps. So next version, we use the same command again, and same process. Have a look if the issue is there. If it is, git bisect bad. If it is not, git bisect good. Yeah, the bug's there, so you keep going. Git bisect bad, goes to the next step, etc. So I'll speed up the next bit because it can take a little while and this virtual machine is quite slow. But you get the idea. You go through those 11 steps or however many steps until you get to the precise commits that started the issue. And here you can see that we don't have the issue. So in this case, I'm going to go git bisect good. So let's keep going. And we're getting to the last step here. We're running calc for the last time. This is good before the bug. So git bisect good. And now we finished. Git tells us where the issue started exactly. So it gives us a bit more information here. It gives us a commit. It says this is the first bad commit. And this is something we can report. But really the most important bit is this one where it says source. So in the bug report, what we'll do is explain what we've done. We'll say that we bisected the issue with the repository win64.24.2, and this is important if someone else wants to check your results. Just to be completely transparent, we'll tell them that the first build was, or the first bad build was this one that we just copied. Oh, actually not that one. Let me copy the correct one. So where it says commit here, but just to be clear, this is the build commit, right? This is the one that is only relevant in this particular bibisect repository. What we want to report on though, the exact cause of the issue is the one underneath where it says source. This one corresponds to a patch, a commit in the history of LibreOffice. So we're saying that there's a bad build here in the repository, but it actually points to a commit in LibreOffice history. So let's copy this number here and find what it corresponds to. You can go to git.libreoffice.org, but then you'd have to go to core, the main repository here, then go to the log or go to the latest commit, and then you can replace at the top here the identifier of the commit with the one you just copied. So you can do that in the URL bar here, and you find this information. But one easy way to do it is starting from the bug report. You can also, usually in the comments, you've got someone reporting their version of LibreOffice, and you've got a build ID there that automatically links to a specific commit. So you can also click on that to open it in a new tab, and then go to the top. Again, replace that with the one you just copied, the end of the URL with the one you just copied, and you get to this offending commit. What I do is I copy this information at the top plus the first line that describes the commit and paste that into my comment. So it is commit da-da-da. You can remove the things that don't really make sense. You can remove, for example, email addresses too. It's a bit useless there. And the tree and the parent as well. We don't necessarily need that here. So you've got a description of what the change is, who the author is, And at the end, I do like to include also the link to Gerrit, where it says reviewed on. I also add that. So there's an easy link to where the patch was reviewed before it was committed. And here we're going to say, because the author is null, we'll say, null, can you please have a look? And make sure to add the author in the CC field. On the right-hand side here, you can search for the name. You should find an email address, and also make sure that you add yourself to the list. There should be a tick box to do that. I'm already in the list here. And that's useful if someone needs to follow up on your bibisect, has a question, and you can also keep track if something gets fixed or not. So we've got the information about the commit that caused this issue. We asked the author to have a look, copied them in. You can also, if you want to, fill in this field. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that particular commit is the real problem. It might just reveal something that existed earlier on, or it might reveal that the bug is actually coming from a different library, right? From a new version of a library. But in any case, that's something that can be discussed later on. What we've done here is we've completed the bibisection. In the keywords, we've got bibisect request here that is asking for a bibisect. We can replace that now by bibisected as well as bisected. Now there's two keywords here. This one means we've run the bibisection on the relevant repository, but sometimes you get to, instead of a single commit, you might get to a range of commits. It depends on how the repository was put together. If that's the case, you don't put the bisected keyword in. Bisected is really when you know exactly which commit it is. If you only have a range of commits and you don't know which one it is, you can put just bisected. But here we've got one single commit, we can go bisected. And that's done. Now you can save your changes here, send your comment and your changes to the bug report, and hopefully this can be looked at fairly quickly. This process really helps us quickly look through a large number of changes and pinpointing exactly where a bug started. So the first step is really to identify that something is a regression, something that didn't work, or that did work and then didn't work in a later version. And then asking for a bibisection, doing that, and getting to a precise commit. That really makes it more likely that something will get fixed eventually. So hopefully you can get into this process and help out the project. As always, thank you very much for your contributions, and hopefully you get to learn a few new skills with this process. Thanks everyone.